to another episode of Rounds of the Knight's Table. I'm Jim.
I'm Enlightened Eric.
And today we're going to talk about Bird Box. Before we start, I'm sorry, I must let you know that we are drinking a Chardonnay because we just didn't have any beer or other alcohol in the fridge. But cheers.
Right.
2016. This film, as you know, if you're not one of the 45 million subscribers that saw it over the past week, this film stars Sandra Bullock, Sarah Paulson, and John Malkovich. And B.D. Wong. Can't forget B.D. Wong. This film is about people that there's this outbreak and these people just decide to kill themselves. Kind of like that other movie that came out. You know, The Happening. Let's start with the good.
The good. I liked Sandra Bullock in this.
When Sandra Bullock first comes into the house, she's got like a really like sad kind of look on her face. And I couldn't tell if it was because her sister just died or because she got roped into this movie.
I like Trevante Rhodes. He was a good character. Him and Sandra Bullock had a pretty decent chemistry going on.
Yeah, for sure. And you get crazy John Malkovich. What I liked about this movie is that it kind of started off fast-paced. But then there's the girl who starts banging her head on the glass. And it was like one of those moments where I was like, it's like forced tension. Like, why did she even look back at Sandra Bullock? And this is what really sold me on this movie, or what sold me in the trailer, was when Sarah Paulson just has that look of like, the car flips and all that. And she doesn't die from that, but she steps out in front of the truck and also looks at Sandra Bullock. She must have a magnet that pulls everyone's eyes to her or something before they kill themselves. So then they end up with a collection of people. Ooh, what a collection of people. I mean, Machine Gun Kelly was there. And to me, it was just...
I'm glad he wasn't there long. Of course, you know, him and the police academy girl are gonna hook up.
No Steve Guttenberg in town, you know he's gonna hook up. There were some good moments in this movie, I thought, as far as the way it looked. You get some good moments between John Malkovich and Sandra Bullock, I think, and again, you know, Trevante Rhodes. And even the kids did pretty good. Because eventually she shits out a kid and another pregnant lady just shows up. What were their names, by the way?
Boy, girl.
Let's talk about the bad. It always felt like forced tension. Like they were like, oh, we need some shit to happen, so let's put this in there.
Like when they were in the car.
Who puts a padlock on I have never been to a grocery store in this century that uses a padlock to close their glass doors. Weren't there windows up front? I don't know.
There were, but I think they like closed some blinds or something.
Yeah, because when mass hysteria is coming and you don't know what it is, it's like... And then there's the one dude who knows everything before it's even happened.
Oh, I'm writing a book about it. I did my research.
Research on what? It just happened like less than 24 hours ago.
There's stories of these things that people see. They see their greatest fears.
Just because you help solve shit and Get Out doesn't mean it's going to apply here.
There was quite a lot of convenience, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, convenience store.
This other pregnant lady shows up and she says, oh, there's so many of you. It's been like a day. Again, it's been a day. How much shit could you have seen? It's not like you were like, oh, there's 3 of us survivors here and I'm the last one and I have to flee. It's been a day or two. Oh, and then also B.D. Wong, who has the brilliant idea to check his security cameras.
Which, I mean, is not actually a bad idea.
He's looking at his camera. They, like, strapped him down in the chair. Because he convinced them. Because he said, trust me. I'm going to tell you this. In my movie-going experience with B.D. Wong, don't ever trust him. Then there were other bad guys that would show up later in the movie. The guys that are, like, enlightened. It was interesting, but I didn't like any of the actors. They were I just found them annoying. Especially the British guy who shows up.
God. How dumb was that girl to let him in without telling anyone else?
They don't show the creatures.
All you see is like some leaves rustled up.
And I know the director, she said that they were told, oh, you know, you gotta show something. And I wish that she had, because I think it would have made it a better film for me. And I'm not one that's like, oh man, I want to go see like Friday the 13th, and then, Jason Voorhees checking his Instagram. I don't need to see him that often.
Yeah.
They put such an emphasis on these other people that have looked at it and are like, oh, it's so beautiful. And obviously they're psychopaths and have been chosen for their crazy reasons. Eventually, it's 5 years later. Everyone dies because the dude they let in he gets the windows open. And then Trevante Rhodes and Sandra Bullock and the boy and the girl, because the other pregnant lady had hers, they go live off in the woods together and all that stuff. They try to radio throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
For help. All of a sudden, dude radios, like the guy on the other end. He's just like, hey, we got a compound. Is that believable? Because it sounds like bait. So then he sacrifices himself to save Sandra Bullock and the kids.
Yeah.
And so then they go on the river rapids and survive and show up. It's the school for the blind, and so obviously they can't be affected because they can't see the damn thing. My biggest eye roll moment of this movie came, she finally has given them a name. The girl's name is Olivia, named after the mother, and the boy's name is Tom, the Trevante.
Yeah.
And man, I'm telling you, my eyes rolled from 5 minutes left in the movie to the end of the credits.
I'm okay with the boy being named Tom. That's sweet. The mother, Olympia, or Olivia.
Olympia, that was it. I said Olivia. That's how unimportant it was.
She said that she wanted to name her girl Cinderella and call her Ella. Why did she not name her that?
Yeah, if you really wanted to honor her memory, because now that that ghost is like, this bitch.
They were arguing over who was going to have to look. Let Sandra Bullock know which way to go. Because, of course, she's rowing backwards. She can't see where she's going, both because of that and the blindfold.
And the blind side.
Boy is like, I'll do it. She's like, I will decide. I will decide who looks. And I'm like, she's going to make the girl look, isn't she? Because it's not her kid. Then it gets to the rapids, and she's like, no one's going to look. I was disappointed in that choice. Yeah. I wish she would have let the girl look.
Fucking child murderer. For me, my final thought. This film, if it didn't provide us with anything other than some dank-ass memes, I don't know. I'm going to preach to you about equality. I did get into a discussion last night about box office numbers and Netflix holding back numbers and stuff like that, because producers are complaining about Netflix not releasing their numbers, saying, hey, if we had access to these numbers of what these films with female leads or minority leads or female directors or minority directors, and we too push that into production. But for me, again, I said this last night, I said, well, you had movies like Selma, you had Black Panther, you had Get Out, you had Moonlight, you had a vast array of movies. And even now, Spider-Man, I know that it's a Spider-Man movie, but Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a minority-led film. I mean, Miles Morales. These people are saying that they don't have access to these numbers, but that's bullshit. When you have access to those box office numbers and you can see what those films have done and awards that they've won, then you already know. You don't need Netflix. That's a cop-out. Netflix has just taken that opportunity and hasn't been scared to gamble on women, on minorities and stuff like that. And yeah, sometimes they miss. And I think for me, this movie was a miss. So with that, how would you score this movie, Aaron?
I actually really did enjoy this movie. Pretty good all the way throughout. The ending was a little flat. So I would score it around maybe like a 7-8.
It felt too much like The Happening. And I got no crazy Mark Wahlberg. Miss Jones?
Instead you
Miss Jones? I never felt like that threat where I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cringeworthy at moments. And for me, I have to score this movie at a 4.5 out of 10. I didn't enjoy it. I rolled my eyes so many times in this movie. And with that, if you like this video, hit those likes, hit those subscribes, and we'll check you out next time. Only on Rounds. I feel like you're looking at me, but I can't really.
I'm not.
Can't really.
Totally not.
Where's my Chardonnay?
Down. Right there.
This is hard. That's what she said.